So on today's show, as we have been discussing over the course of years, there's a good proportion of Bermudians whose families come from different Caribbean islands. One of the Caribbean islands that has the largest proportion of persons in Bermuda is St. Kitts. If somebody's named Francis, Woodley, Can, so on and so forth, odds are your family came from St. Kitts. If your family comes from Baccaton, odds are your family came from St. Kitts. If you came from Somerset, odds are you came from St. Kitts. So today we're going to have two guests on who are Bermudians who have been living in St. Kitts, between Bermuda and St. Kitts and Nevis, and they want to discuss the possibility, not just what life is like down there, but the possibility of Bermudians gaining St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship. So we're going to go to break, then we come back and we'll be speaking to them.
Let's make a difference this back-to-school season. Gibbons Company and the Gina Spence program are proud to present the Each One, Reach One campaign. We're inviting you to sponsor a child with a brand new uniform package. Everything they need, from shirts and bottoms to socks, underwear, and a backpack. To donate, visit gspcharity.com by August 23rd. Join us in helping kids start the school year with confidence. Together, let's dress them for educational success.
Bermuda's bouncing back strong after Hurricane Ernesto, and so's our cricket. Mark your calendars for August the 31st. The Eastern County Cup third round is here. Live from Lord's Oval, it's Bailey's Bay versus Flats in a clash for the ages. Catch every thrilling moment live on ZFB7. Hear the action on Power 95, or stream it online at bbc.pm. The opening bell is at 10 a.m. Don't miss the excitement.
Hey there, it's your girl Miss Thang, and I've got exciting news for you. You asked for it and we delivered. Starting this July, the Women's Resource Center is bringing you another empowering segment. Join Winnie Crockle, Executive Director of the Women's Resource Center, for the Empower Her Half Hour on Power 95. Now, every first and third Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. The Women's Resource Center is dedicated to advocating for women and providing access to the tools needed for them to lead joyful, successful lives. So tune in and be part of the movement, the Empower Her Half Hour, because every woman deserves to rise, shine, and thrive.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. Join me the first Wednesday of every month at 8:45 on Power 95 as I chat with Miss Thang about advanced aesthetics. We provide personalized skincare solutions tailored to Bermuda's diverse skin tones and unique skincare needs. That's 8:45 the first Wednesday of every month on Power 95 for expert tips and learn how to glow with confidence.
Pleased to bring you this AccuWeather.
AccuWeather, the world's weather leader. Forecasters and meteorologists who thrive on the new technology that can help you chart your day. From St. George's to Somerset, sunshine to severe weather, with digital Doppler radar, AccuWeather helps you stay on top of your day. Proudly brought to you by BF&M. AccuWeather only on ZBM TV9, where community comes first.
This AccuWeather report is brought to you by the BF&M Insurance Group.
And we're back. So, quick little history lesson. I don't have the miracle child here to ask questions soon. Quick little history lesson. As we all know, Bermuda is and was a British colony. So that meant from the time we were quote unquote founded, the majority in 1616 they began the importation of enslaved Africans from the West Indies. And that continued for 200 odd years. Contrary to popular belief, the majority of enslaved Africans or enslaved persons did not come to Bermuda directly from Africa. They came via, drumroll, the Caribbean. One of the islands, St. Kitts, other islands, Nevis. After emancipation in 1834, there was a migration of persons from St. Kitts and Nevis to Bermuda via the ships called lady ships that used to go up to Canada, take food from agricultural products from the Caribbean up to Canada and stopped in Bermuda along the way. Also up west, this is a place called Dockyard. The Dockyard extension was primarily built by men from St. Kitts and Nevis. So this lays a little groundwork to say how there was this migration of Bermudians, persons having ties to St. Kitts both before and after emancipation. And we're here, we're not going anywhere, but some of us are going back to St. Kitts and Nevis to look for our roots, to get our citizenship and buy a piece of property and so on and so forth. So I am going to now let two ladies introduce themselves, and I would start with, I would say the lady that lives out west, but they both live out west. To start with the lady that is related to the Christophers. Good afternoon, Miss Lewis.
Good afternoon, Chris.
How are you?
Listening audience. Fine, thank you.
And your name is?
Annette Lewis.
Annette Lewis, out of the, which clan you're out of?
Well, Christopher clan from Sandy Point, St. Kitts, originally where my grandfather came from.
Okay.
And he moved to Bermuda in 1918 and settled in Sands Parish. Mm-hmm. And he worked at the dockyard. Then he moved there.
Okay. And now we'll talk to the lady who lives up west, but originally is from down east. And her name is?
Vernelda Douglas Davis. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Vernelda Douglas Davis. And I have the pleasure of calling both these ladies my relatives. Okay. Good afternoon, cousins. How are you all doing?
We're thankful.
So,
thank you, Chris.
I'll allow you all to start off and tell us, what's it like living in St. Kitts and Nevis?
I'll let Vernelda start since she's lived here the longest.
Okay.
Okay. Very interesting lifestyle, very simple, nothing heavy. And once you get the community done, things just roll nicely. It's very much like Bermuda used to be. Nevis is very small, quiet, 13,500 people, and it's okay. It's a beautiful lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting.
And what led you to be moving to St. Kitts and Nevis?
My mom always kept in touch with her family there from Sandy Point, mm-hmm. Tabernacle, and I just decided I would go down for like Christmas, about 10 years straight. Christmas we went down on the charter, Pam Mabry, Maury Brown back in the days, and I said this is where I want to settle. So that's why I'm there, giving thanks and going back to what my grandparents left to come here to make a better life for themselves. I'm able to go back now and appreciate everything there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this question here. Growing up here in Bermuda, where you obviously you're Douglas, so we know that that is a St. Kitts name. Were you always told about your Kittitian heritage?
Yes, my mother did teach us all about that. She never forgot where her people came from. That's why we stayed in touch with them. Mm-hmm. She even had my cousin come up to Bermuda for about 2 months to live with her.
Okay.
That time, yes.
All right. And over to you now, Miss Christopher Lewis.
Yes. I've always heard growing up that my grandfather came from Sandy Point. It's like something that always stayed with me, even though I never visited St. Kitts and Nevis through my later working life. I decided to come here in 2015 initially for the first time. And believe it or not, my first visit to Nevis, I met Vernelda. I didn't know her from Bermuda previously. So I actually met her on my first visit to Nevis. And I always stayed in touch with her. And then over the years, I just kept coming back on short trips to the point where I said, well, let me come longer with Nevis, because I used to stay more in St. Kitts. And the more I stayed here, that Nevis kept calling me. And at one point, I said, well, I think this is where I want to be when I retire. So last year, 2023, I made it happen, and I moved here full time. And it's been the best decision I've ever made as far as retirement, what I wanted to do for retirement, and this place offered everything I wanted. Mm-hmm. It is just so, well, I live in Butlers, which is on the side of the island facing Antigua and Montserrat, and very quiet. So if you want a quiet lifestyle, Nevis is a quiet place. It's not fast-paced like people say St. Kitts is. But I like it because it's small. It's a nice small community. I teach water aerobics twice a week, and I have a small network of ladies that comes to my classes. I volunteer for the Red Cross. So I have a life here, and I have friends, and also, in addition, I work with Vernelda. We do consultancy work for people that want to acquire citizenship, either by descent or by marriage.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. I just want to touch base on something that both of you are Bermudians. You grew up here, spent all your life here, and in your part of your retirement years, you decided you want to live in Nevis. For those who, we know that as growing up, let's put it all on the table. Growing up, we know that there was this stigma given to persons who are from the West Indies. Like, oh, your family's from the jungle or whatever, backwards type of talk, right? People who had never been there, just listening to what somebody else said, and it tried to stigmatize us as if like we're third or fourth class citizens, right? Mm-hmm. And it comes to a point that you realize as we get older, we realize that people are saying that when it's somebody who's of a different pigmentation is one thing. But when it's your own quote-unquote people saying it, it comes a little hurtful. And then you realize when you start looking back at their family tree, you're like, you come from the same place, bro. What are you talking about? So I want us to just discuss that topic for a minute, because I've, over the last, I want to say days, since this morning, I've got quite a few WhatsApps in from persons I didn't even know had Kittitian heritage, where they were saying, oh, their great grandfather this or this, that, and the other. And so it's interesting to see how you have all these accomplished persons in Bermuda. When I say accomplished, meaning they're professionals, they've educated themselves, the stalwarts in the community, who are of St. Kitts or Nevision or both heritage, right? I want to touch base on what was it like when you all moved, moved to St. Kitts, but when you all visited St. Kitts and you saw the country. Did any of these negative connotations even remotely come true?
Well, with me, not really.
Sorry, Vernelda.
That's okay. Once you go ahead, Annette.
Because I'm the newest one, Vernelda could probably attest for way back. She's been here like 10 years. So I know since I first started coming here, it was like a place of peacefulness and calmness. I can't explain it. It was almost like overwhelming beauty. And the people itself, it just reminds you of Bermuda how we used to be. And Vernelda and I say it all the time, 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. So if you picture 40 years ago, yes, we don't have everything like Bermuda has. This place still offers a lot. And the people here, very genuine, go out of the way to help you. They're very humble. And I like that part of it. And it's just everything about Nevis and St. Kitts itself. Vernelda could probably add more for when she first came here.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's very, very humble. It's like Grandma used to be back in the day. You go to the shop, you pick up something for somebody, and you come back. You carry this person, that place, and whatever. And I found my church family and St. Paul's Anglican Church. And I'm here to tell you they welcomed me with open arms. I was just so overwhelmed. I was crying because of the way the people just treated me and welcomed me to Nevis. And I didn't have transportation for a while, but they were there to pick me up to go to church anywhere I needed to go. Millie and Lloyd were there, and her daughter Angie. It's just, oh my God, a piece of pumpkin, a piece of breadfruit. Everything is just there, So they just don't forget their neighbors. And into that. I carry my neighbor, Miss Elliott, wherever she's got to go. People come, we just do what we have to do for them, you know. It's like very, very simple lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And did you find, I presume you're talking about the Williams family?
Lloyd and Millie, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she was there, you know, she was just like, what can I help you with, you know? So it's just made you feel at home. Yeah.
Yes, I went to school with Angela at Berkeley, and her son is a big Calypso.
Yes,
down
he
there
is.
now. Cricketer and Calypso.
Mr. Invincible, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and another question, when you were down there and you were walking around St. Kitts or Nevis, did you see faces that looked familiar but they weren't who you thought they were?
People was like, you from Brown Hill? You Prentice? You so-and-so? I'm like, you know, no, I'm from Bermuda, but I live Craddock Road, because everybody's like, I look like somebody that belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was like, wow, serious.
And what about you, Miss Lewis?
Yeah, you know, I see people, you know, and I look at them, I think, oh, they look like a person I know in Bermuda. Is almost like, and then you start talking to them and they say, oh, yeah, I have a cousin that lives there or aunt that lives there. So they have relatives, and you can pick it up in some of the way, like you said, people look. They have that certain look,
mm-hmm.
and you say, they look like Bermudian person. Like you kind of like to pick them out. And, yeah, but there's a story. I know Mr. Jaffers might be listening, but I actually ended up connecting 2 different family members of Mr. Jaffers because they came to my water class. And he met a cousin, because you might have read his story in the newspaper not too long ago. His cousin was coming to my class, and she asked me if I knew Charles Jefferson. I said, yes. And I connected them, and it was his first cousin, a cousin he'd never met. Mm-hmm. And it's just so odd that, you know, there are people here, but they've never been to Bermuda. They say they have family members there. So, you know, it's nice when they hear somebody that's from Bermuda. They want to know about Bermuda.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is that not everybody in Bermuda has a relative in St. Kitts, but I could guarantee you everybody in St. Kitts and Nevis has a relative in Bermuda. Whether they know them or not. That's the point is that many Bermuda, if you look at the numbers wise, the persons in Bermuda that are of St. Kitts and Nevis heritage, it's got to be past 20,000, right? So if you look at the population of St. Kitts and Nevis, it's only 50,000. So if you, numbers wise, we almost have the Kittitians and Nevisian descent persons in Bermuda is almost half the population of St. Kitts and Nevis. So that tells you the correlation of how many persons are related between the 2 islands, you know?
Yep.
So,
Most definitely.
Moving on a bit. So, for those who don't know, if your parent or your grandparent was born in St. Kitts or Nevis, you are eligible for citizenship by descent, which means to say almost like you inherited the citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this year, we had 2 guests come on this show earlier this year. First was Ambassador Walwyn, who is from the diaspora unit in St. Kitts and Nevis. She wanted to connect with the diaspora in the Kittitian division diaspora up here in Bermuda. And then later on, we had Minister Samuel Duggins, who came up here just before Bermuda Day, or for Bermuda Day, I should say. And again, he wanted to connect with the diaspora. And at both of these meetings, what they heard in no uncertain terms is that Bermudians, I would say my age or older, are interested not only in themselves getting citizenship, some already have it, but as importantly, their children and grandchildren being able to get citizenship. So now this is where I turn it over to you ladies to can explain to the people of Bermuda how this works.
Go ahead, Nat.
Okay. So Chris, like you said, the application process requires proof of descent. So that's where it starts. You have to prove that your parent came from here or your grandparent. So whether you have older names or part of the names, you just need to make sure we can find, if the person doesn't already have a birth record or a baptismal record of their parent or grandparent, then we would have to go out and do what we call a search at a church or a registry, to find out. So that's part of the search part of it, because the records are not in Bermuda. Some people may be of the mindset that it's in the archives in Bermuda, but the records are actually here in St. Kitts. If the person or Nevis was born here, then we have to prove that is the heritage, the link. So that's the kind of like the start of it before they even start gathering their own documents. We have to prove that that's your grandpa, your grandmother, and we go from there. So everybody's unique and different, Some things change between when the person left St. Kitts or Nevis, they went to Bermuda, and they might have changed their identity. When I say may, that's for instance, somebody was a Lester here, Lester, might have went to Bermuda and called themselves Lister, Lister. So you have differences in names, surnames, and so therefore sometimes we have to do a little bit more digging or some type of research in order to pull it all together to make it possible to apply. I've done more than 50 citizenships. Some are simple and straightforward. Some are very complicated. So everybody's on a case-by-case. And so what we offer is a person could do a consultation with us, a free consultation. Let us hear what you have and how we can help you to obtain that citizenship. That's it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Over to you, Mrs. Douglas Davis.
Well, Annette said it all in a nutshell. And like she said, I was looking for my grandfather, Eric Alexander, as we knew him, and we couldn't find nothing in the records. And then I stumbled upon Grandma's name, and there it was Zonder, Eric Zonder Douglas. So that's what I'm saying. It's like one name you leave with, and when you get here, it's something else on the certificate. So we have to look at things like that. And it was my grandmother, on my mother's side, we knew her as Clotilda Warner. When I got the birth certificate, it was Matilda. So we had to bring that back and change it. So it's things like that.
So the Warners, they come from Sandy Point as well.
Warners from Sandy Point, yes.
So let me ask you this question, and many people in Bermuda know who Vernelda Douglas Davis is. Did anybody in St. Kitts really have to ask if he was a Douglas?
Not really. No, because they say you're short just like Dougie.
It's not that he's short. The Douglas clan was just like folks from St. David. You have a certain look.
You have a certain look, and they're really stamped. Be serious.
Yeah, they are stamped, as they like to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So because I know of a particular, and I think you all know the person too, but I won't quote her name, of a person that is having a little challenge that I hopefully is going to get worked out, because all these little intricacies like, this name change, or people are not like, we're not. The reality is that we as persons of Kittitian or Nevisian heritage, we came here, or our grandparents or great grandparents came here, right? But that doesn't make us any less of being from there. Right?
Absolutely.
So, just like, you have persons who say, well, my grandfather's Canadian, so I consider myself a Canadian Bermudian, or my grandma's from England, so I consider myself you have to be proud of your heritage. And the unfortunate part is that our grandparents came here and some were made to feel less than. And you go back to St. Kitts and they're like, well, you have to prove that you're from here, and you got to go through all these, as they say, you got to jump through all these hoops to prove it. And you're like, that's why, we had this, we as the Bermudians had a stern conversation with the minister and the ambassador. Like, listen, you can't, I have a note here from somebody that you would know, Miss Douglas Davis. It has to go to the fourth generation. You cannot be telling us that our children and grandchildren cannot get citizenship. That's just utterly ridiculous. Like,
Well, they're looking at doing something about that because we was telling them that it's our generation that has it, and we're moving on. So you need that next generation to have that citizenship.
mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of my nieces and nephews would love to have it. You know, but thankful my grandson was born there, so that's, you know, I don't have to worry about him.
Oh.
But you know, it's you know, they are looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to just wait, be patient, and see what comes out of it. But we're going to push for it.
Yeah. So for those that for those that are who are listening in, that are interested in getting the citizenship, how can they contact either one of you or both of you?
Annette, you want to give them the email address?
Yeah, we have an email address, which is.
Well, let's start with a phone. Let's start with a phone number. That's always easiest.
Sure.
Because you know everybody's up on WhatsApp, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my WhatsApp number is 441-335-7464.
441-335-7464.
64.
Okay, and your email address?
DL Consulting.
DL?
SK, yes, DL, that's Davis at Lewis, DL Consulting.
Consulting.
SKN, which is St. Kitts and Nevis, SKN, at gmail.com.
Okay, so DL, Davis Lewis Consulting, at skn at gmail.com.
Yep.
So let me start.
Okay, so
DL Consulting, SKN at gmail.com.
Okay. We're not going to discuss the fees. That you could discuss that with the individual. What would you say on average, on a best case scenario, let's say somebody has all the ducks in a row, how long would it take them to get their citizenship?
Citizenship.
The government gives us a timeline of 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the timeline for we drop it off and then we sort of go back midway 4-month mark and I'll check on it, follow up, and then if not, like 6 months. So 6 months at the most.
And what about the passport?
That's easy.
Passport about 10 business days.
Don't tell Bermudians that. Don't tell Bermudians that.
Yes, that's a quick turnaround.
It's a quick turnaround.
People are waiting 20 weeks for a passport in Bermuda because we have to go through the United Kingdom. And in St. Kitts, you get a passport in 10 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do them here. Doesn't take that long.
So they can contact you, and then what are some of the things that are needed beyond just proof of at least one parent, grandparent, or parents' birth certificate? What else is needed?
They'll need a police record from Bermuda, which is not older than 6 months.
And they have to who they collect that from, the police?
They can do it at they can do it at the Supreme Court. That one that we pay $10 for, so they don't have to pay that expensive one. They could pay for the $10 one, magistrate court one.
Police or magistrate court one.
I start there because that's where I refer my clients to go, because they don't have to go to pocket that much.
Okay, so magistrate court up. That's what the Dame Lewis Brown building.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Third floor. Yeah. Just take an ID with them, and then they'll tell them then to come back. It's usually, I think it's about 15 business days, I think. Okay.
And then, so it's birth certificate, magistrate court record, and what else is needed?
Pictures.
If they're married, I'll need a marriage certificate. Any name change along the way, whether it was by depot, we would need to piece up the record. So when you look at it, you're matching your records, your parents' records, and your grandparents. It's all got to flow. All the names should match up.
Okay, so birth certificate, police or magistrate court record, pictures, and marriage certificate if you're that applies to women, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
And basically that's it. So it will be the applicant's birth certificate, a parent's birth certificate, and or if we have to go further, the grandparents. Everybody's birth certificate. And then the birth certificate from St. Kitts is the part that they probably won't have because most people don't have that. So this is where we do the search and look for it if they don't have it.
Okay. All right. And what about, so separate and apart from apart from citizenship, do you offer any sort of services like finding out who your people are, or some people just don't have a reference point to start to say, well, I knew my grandma was named so-and-so, but that's all I know about, and she came from St. Kitts or Nevis. Do you offer this sort of, I guess you'll say, Ancestry.com? I'm using that example. Ancestry search.
Yeah, we have a business partner that does genealogist searches, and she's been doing it for like 20 plus years. She knows all the ins and outs, all the different churches and all the different. So she's very knowledgeable about searches. So we can pass them on to her if they want to do an extensive search. There are people that actually want to go way back as far as great. Like myself, I can find my great-grandparents by me doing church searches. I did it myself.
So I'm going to give you a quick... Sorry, go ahead.
We can go back in the records as far as we can to find our ancestors. We can. All
right, so I'm going to give you a really quick joke. You mentioned somebody earlier, Mr. Charles Jeffers. Almost every Bermudian over the age 50 knows of Charles Jeffers, and people who's under the age of 50 know of his son Charles Jeffers II. So they aren't unknown. He's not an unknown entity, right? I've known him all my life. I've always had to call him Mr. Jeffers, from Baccaton, from Angle Street Church. He used to sell insurance, come around my parents' house, politics, you name it. I've always known him, always had a lot of respect for him. And so one day he says to me, he's giving me a story, and he says, he told me who his last name is Jeffers, but one of his the grandparents must have been a Byron, right? I was like, Byron, what that name sounds familiar. And then I went to my auntie, who was the family historian, and she says, oh, well, you know, your great-grandpa, he was actually born, well, he said that were related to the Byrons. So I didn't know exactly how they were related. You know, once my auntie says, oh, that's your family, then you don't worry about the how. So anyway, earlier this year, one of my cousins in St. Kitts, she did some research and she got back to us and she found out that my great-grandpa was, his last name, we knew him, his last name was Charles. But when he was first born, he was a Byron. His mama was a Byron, but his daddy was a Charles, and then he took up the Charles name. So long story short, it's when these things you actually find out, not that you're just related, but exactly how you're related to these people. So is it Byrons, it's Jacobs, all these sorts of things. Everybody has to realize that whatever your surname is, you have two parents that have surnames. You have great-grandparents, so you could be related to, you can't just say, well, I'm just a Lewis, so I ain't related to somebody who's a Hodge. You never know who you're related to, right? So this is why it's important to do these genealogy things, because trust me, you will find that you are, especially if your family is from St. Kitts and Nevis, you will find a lot of cousins in Bermuda you didn't know is actually your cousins, or the triple cousins or something like that.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
For those that have not been to St. Kitts and Nevis, how do you get from Bermuda to St. Kitts and Nevis? Because no more charter flights. So.
Well, you got American Airlines, you got JetBlue, you got Delta, and United. I do JetBlue because I don't like Miami. But now you can do Bermuda to Charlotte to St. Kitts on American. That's easy also. Yes.
I just got a note in from someone. It says, my brother, top of the day, extend greetings to my fellow Kittitians, Craig R. Woods.
Oh, Mr. Woods.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
All right.
His sister, I ain't going to say who, but he has a sister that was my teacher, and she was born on the same day as me.
Mr. Woods, yes, Mr. Woods. I have seen him since I've been here. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we have about 20 Bermudians in St. Kitts living, yeah, it's quite interesting.
Because we have, when you was talking about Lister earlier, Mr.
Walter Lister?
Yes, Honorable Walter Lister.
Honorable
He actually,
Walter Lister, yes.
he spent a good portion of his time in St. Kitts.
Yes.
And his, and like you said earlier, his, father, was his father or grandfather, came from Sandy Point, and when they first came here, the name wasn't actually Lister, it was Lester.
Exactly. That's what we're saying about the different names, the way they, pronounce it and stuff. But, yeah, when Mr. Lister, Honorable Lister comes in, we usually get together and, just greet everyone. And it's, Charles and Jonas there. It's just a wonderful time when we get together.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know out in, I don't want to say Frigate Bay, but in the Frigate Bay area, there's a park called Half Moon, I want to say.
Yes.
There's quite a few Bermudians have houses there. They may not live there all the time, but they have houses there. I was driving somewhere one day, and I was like, the guy looks like a Bermudian. I slowed down. I was like, oh, that's the gentleman who used to do a lot of walking up on South Shore. I didn't call no names.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a house out in there.
Out in the Frigate Bay area.
And then you got Troy Gavia.
Yeah, Troy's there.
My cousin Liz and Ross Davis, they have a house out there.
Yes.
And for those who are questioning these types of houses, how would you compare these houses to Bermudian houses?
They're built just like our houses now, just that the rooftop is different.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a lot of building codes and stuff. They're getting into that there. Yeah, they've really done. I have seen the difference from the time I first went there to now. Yeah, building codes, they have to be up.
And for those that may be interested in buying property, what is all the prices of property for, let's say, a quarter acre of land?
It all depends. Some may go for 5 EC, 7 EC. It all depends where you're looking at. If you're looking at Cades Bay area, that's in Nevis. Mm-hmm. I think, was something like 7 EC a square foot.
All right. So yeah, because so how would you, if that is $2.7 EC to $1 US, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So give or take, you're talking about $4, $2-3 a square foot.
A square foot.
So a quarter acre, for those who don't know, an acre of land is 40,000 square feet. So a quarter acre would be 10,000 square feet. So what they're saying roughly is a quarter acre land will cost you about $30,000, something like that, US dollars.
Yeah.
Again, based on location, could go higher, could go lower.
Exactly.
But one of the things that, and a couple years ago, I wrote something in the Bermuda Sun, so that's a long time ago, that Bermudians should look to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the sense buying property, building a house, whether you live there or you rent it out. How is the tourism down there in relation to like Airbnbs and so on?
Oh my goodness! In Nevis, we really do need hotel beds, because you got Four Seasons. That's the main hotel there, and they got this place called Nelson Springs. It's like condos, and they got Hamilton Hotel, and it's quite a few Airbnbs there. Mm-hmm. And some of them are nice, up to standard and everything, especially when you go up in the Fern Hill area. There's beautiful houses up there that you can rent. You have to be careful, because sometimes if you need it Christmas time, you may not be able to get it because the owners are there. But, it's got some cute little places there. You can get like a little one-bedroom place with a little pool. It's really nice in Clifton area. But it would be interesting to have some investments there to do something like that, because we need more beds in Nevis.
Yeah, because one of the things that we as Bermudians, you find persons come to Bermuda from different parts of the world and invest in Bermuda, right? And there's no problem. No people have no problem. No, it's so nice for people to come and invest in Bermuda. But when Bermudians are encouraged to invest elsewhere, all of a sudden, it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so, how easy is it for, let's say you don't have citizenship, how easy it for you to invest?
They have citizenship by investment, and I think that's, is it $350 net or $400?
It's $250,000 now.
250?
They brought it down in line with some of the other
Okay.
because they all had the same amount, so they kind of brought it down to mirror. I think it might have been Alicia or somewhere, but I think it's about $250.
Oh, okay.
$250,000. Yeah.
So that's not even bad.
I do know, Chris, that talking to a builder, a person that has no link or heritage to the island could actually buy a piece of land. You pay an extra 10% of that piece of land, and then they can actually build on it without any extra other cost other than building it, the house.
All right.
So that's like a way around it. You don't have to spend a whole lot of spending $250. But $250 you can build a nice house for $250.
$250 US.
Oh yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Uh-huh.
I've just completed a house here now. I'm living in brand new. I was working on it over a 2-year period, in and out of the island because I wasn't here full time. And you could build something nice for about $250 or less, depending on what style and size.
I have a question came in from a relative of mine saying, question for the guests, is there a threat of gentrification, i.e. displacement of population by those moving to the island or by the citizenship by investment program? Like, do you see Kittitians getting outnumbered, those who are born there?
Well, you see, a lot of this I go off to school and they don't come back, and then a lot of them went to better themselves like our parents did, you know, and some of them come back. The younger lot now are coming back because they have better jobs and everything. And then when they come back, they had this place called, it was a section of property around in Newcastle where if you had come back with a degree, you were able to buy property and build your house there. So they offer things to these students when they come back, you know, so you can come back and you can get a piece of property for X number of dollars, $11,000 EC. And then you can build your house. So it's things like that encourages some of them to come back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we're about to wrap up. Any final thing you want to say to the people of Bermuda or anybody else who's listening in?
Just tell them, come take a look at it. You have to come and see it for yourself. We can only say so much, but once you come there, visit, take a look around, see what you think about it, and then you can take it from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to quickly add, Chris, that the connection between the two islands is 2 ferries. One is like a 30-minute regular commuter ferry for people between islands, and the other one is like a short 7-minute water taxi. So that's how we get from St. Kitts to Nevis, and we fly into St. Kitts and how we get over here. Just wanted to give you logistics of getting to Nevis.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Do they still have the one time I was in St. Kitts, I want to say 2014, and I took the ferry from out the peninsula.
Oh, you took it from Cades Bay, from out the peninsula.
To what's it called?
Wally Beach.
Wally Beach, right? And it was this lady.
Yeah.
It was this lady on the worked on the ferry named Sweet Pea.
Oh, you went over on Jones's boat, the car boat?
Yes, I drove my car on the boat.
Oh, okay. You came over on Jones's Sweet Pea, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lady on there named Sweet Pea. And the minute she heard my accent, she says, "Oh, you're from Bermuda?" I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, do you know David Dodwell?" I'm like, "Everybody in Bermuda knows David Dodwell." "Oh, everybody in Nevis knows David Dodwell."
Sweet Pea.
Yeah.
I must wonder if she's still around.
Yeah, I used to have a picture of it and stuff. But anyway, thank you, ladies, for helping to inform the people of Bermuda about their possibility of getting their St. Kitts and the Nevis citizenship and the investment opportunities somewhat. We'll have you back at another time to talk about some other things.
Thank you for having us. And just like I said, come and take a look and see for yourself.
Yes.